Hi everybody, it's Julie. Welcome to Hello Monday. I am super stoked. In the studio today, I have been experimenting with stamping on microfine glitter and coloring it with Copic markers. And yes, you can do it, but I found that some inks work better than others, and I've stumbled across the ultimate and perfect combination at last. So I'm going to start with some Be Creative tape, and I'm using the 2.5-inch roll, and then I'm going to take a pre-cut square of 2.5-inch Neenah Solar White, and I just needed a square that would just fit the tape there. So I'm going to press that down, and then normally I wouldn't say so much about my scissors because it's not really that big of a deal. You just find a pair of scissors you like, but I have found these honeybees work great because they are Teflon coated, and this tape is so sticky that it can be really a pain to try to clean off your scissors, and I don't like to have to, waste a lot of time cleaning things. So just a heads up, use some honeybees. They're really great. They clean up awesome. So now I'm going to burnish the tape down to that cardstock and make sure I have good adhesion all over the surface. So I'm just going to take my bone folder and just go across the liner there and make sure it's all down good. And I'm using this awesome microfine glitter by Elizabeth Craft. It is the Warm Diamond. Now it is transparent and it has iridescent sparkles, but it's also got these warm glints to it. So it's a warmer toned, clear, transparent glitter. And I'm going to save that liner tape for something else in the future. I don't have time to show it in this video today, but rest assured that liner piece, don't throw it away because I got something cool to show you with it later on. Hopefully next week, maybe. So what I'm going to do now is dump the microfine glitter over the top and burnish it into the tape with my fingertips. The oil from my fingertips helps get a good coverage and gives you that velvety finish we're looking for. So I'm going to squeegee off the excess. Initially, it's going to be very gritty, but when you squeegee off the excess after you've burnished it all over the surface of that tape, then you're going to find it feels very velvety and smooth. It is incredible, and you can't really pick it up on camera or see it on camera, but in real life when you're touching it, you're going to be amazed. And the glitter does not come off. It's so cool. So now I'm going to take Brilliance Graphite Black and this adorable flower stamp by Savvy Stamps, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp right on top of the microfine glitter. And the only glitter that this works with is the microfine because it is super, super fine grind, and it's going to give you that really smooth, flat surface that you need to get a good image. And what I have found with this Brilliance Graphite Black, you will need to heat set it, but you do want to keep your heat gun a good, healthy distance away. So I'm talking like 8 inches, 7 to 8 inches away, and just heat it. You want to make sure you don't get so close that you start melting the glitter, because that can happen when you get too close. It's not like embossing where you're trying to melt. You're not trying to melt anything. You're just trying to heat set it. So I'm going to take some scratch paper and just apply that over the top. And this is just to make sure that I've actually dried the ink thoroughly. And I can see there, you probably can't see it on camera, but there's a little bit of ink showing there on the scratch papers, which tells me I need to go back and heat set it a little longer. And then I will go ahead and test it again. And as soon as I have clean scratch paper, then I know that the ink is thoroughly dry and I can move on. So now I can take my Copic markers and start coloring my image. Now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to actually use any kind of brush stroking. I'm not going to sweep it across the image. I'm just going to dab and tap. So dab and tap the tip of your marker. The ink is going to flow very quickly. So, use a light hand. Less is more in this instance. And you don't want to sweep the tip of your marker across that because the microfine glitter will actually shred the nib of your marker if you're doing it that way. So just tap or you'll ruin your marker, and that's no fun. So now I'm going to take a lighter color. So I started out with Prawn, and now I'm using Blush. This is one of my favorite colors, of a really soft pink in the Copic. And I'm just going to dab where the end of the Prawn color is and let it kind of bleed out. It's going to blend and bleed out on its own there. And the great thing about it, as long as you're tapping and not brushing or sweeping the tip of the marker, you're going to get really good blended effects. But you can also come in with the colorless blender and kind of push the color around a little bit and soften it even more wherever the edges are, if you want to add a little bit more softening or blending out, feathering out. But again, just use a tapping motion. And here you can see a close-up. This isn't as sharp as I wanted it to be on camera. but I just kind of wanted you to see, you know, like get an idea of the way the colors blended out. So now I'm going to take some of this Shape and Tape by Lifestyle Crafts. I love this stuff. And you can use regular rolls of washi tape, but this already has a liner paper on it. I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to get in between the liner papers. But if you wanted to trim a regular roll of washi tape down to size, you could take a strip and put it onto some wax paper and then use your paper trimmer to cut it to the width that you needed. So in this case, it's already on a liner paper, so I could just take the whole sheet and cut it to size on my guillotine trimmer. So now I'm just going to add, it's just a little bit of pattern and punch to add to the whole design. And I'm just going to trim that off, and I will go ahead and wrap that around the edges for just a nice finished effect. And then one thing I like to do sometimes when I'm matting something is I like to 3D pop it on the mat itself. So I put some pop dots there on the back, and then I'm going to mount it to a 1/4 inch larger black square. So this is going to be my mat layer. And I love the way it looks when you pop up the focal image on the mat layer. For some reason, it just kind of elevates the whole thing to a whole nother dimension. And I really like the look. So instead of mounting both layers dimensionally, I'm just going to mount the top layer dimensionally, and the black is going to get flush mounted to the card front. And I'm just using Glue Glider Pro, and I'm also using the ruling guides there, the diagonal lines there, to kind of help me get it centered. I'm at a bit of an angle. The camera's looking straight down on it, but my view is at a bit of an angle, so it's a little bit tricky to get it centered. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish embellishing it. And I'm using my favorite Hero Arts black gemstones. And then I had to add one sequin, just one. And the satin black I thought worked really well because it's a little bit larger than the gemstones. And I just used some glossy accents to glue it right onto the surface there. And here you can see the effects and how well this Brilliance Graphite black ink works with the Copic markers. It is so awesome. And I hope you'll give it a try. I just love it. Thanks for watching.